I don't care what anybody says, bro. Humans are OP. We're like the main, like humans are the main characters of the fucking Earth, bro. We're overpowered, bro. We got with the simple, our simple ability, like just having the ability to think, to have a conscience. I said, what the fuck am I saying? To have a conscience, bro. To be able to think what's good and what's bad. To be able to say, I want to do this, and it's not like something that's hardwired. Like we can go against the hardwiring part of our human nature, of our nature. The fact that we can do just simply that we always are able to make a choice, and whoopty wah whoopty whoop, we're OP, bro. We're overpowered. We're able to build all these things like no animal, like okay, yeah, birds can fly, bro. Birds can fly, but like they can't think like us. A bird will fly into a fucking glass window. Birds been on this world for how the fuck long, and they still haven't built their own fucking, you know, nest with shelter. They got the nest, right? They built the nest, just the hole in the middle and everything, but they don't got no shelter. So what if it rains? You see what I'm saying? We're OP.
Human beings. Are they as overpowered as the game's community would lead you to believe? Short answer, yeah. They're the most meta-defining build of all time, and the undisputed top build in the current expansion. But believe it or not, this wasn't always the case. Humans used to get body left and
Not only that, bro, we're good at so many different things, bro. And we always get better. Like we adapt and we get better. Like if there's something that's impossible, like anything that an animal can do, we can do, bro. That's the thing. That's why we're OP. Birds can fly, we got planes. Fish can swim, we got boats. We got scuba. This motherfucking fish under the deep sea. We got scuba gear. Well, not scuba gear. Submarines, nigga. Exactly. Like we're doing it all right now, bro. We're doing it all. The only thing I say that we're like lacking on is camouflage, like chameleons, but we're close to it. We got the like camouflage, the army wear. You feel me? So we can camouflage in the grass and shit like that. But like we're close to it. Sooner or later we'll be right there with them. We adapt and we overcome. Humans.
right on a daily basis by other players. And it took a pretty long time before the player base learned how to actually make use of the human build's unique abilities. The story of the humans' rise to dominance is a really interesting one. And so today, we're going to do an in-depth look at the humans' abilities, their strengths, and their weaknesses. Because yes, they do have weaknesses. We'll also go over notable matchups, and finally look at the steps human players took in order to reach their dominant status. First, their unique abilities. I touched on this topic in my video about primates, but I'll recap here and also go into more detail. First off the bat, we have their ability to throw things. Other builds can throw things, but humans can do so harder, faster, and further than anyone else.
And we're more accurate.
The reason for this is their body structure. Bipedal builds are tough to balance, both in the game development sense and the center of mass sense. Throwing an item with any real force behind it requires serious balance, achieved only by having shorter arms and longer legs. This is why humans can launch projectiles at deadly speeds, whereas other primates kinda just lob things without putting much effort into it. If they tried to, they would knock themselves over. Even if chimpanzees could figure out how to craft a spear, there's no way they could throw it hard enough to deal any significant damage. Next, their stamina regeneration. Humans can chase down anything. You try to run from a human, you might outspeed them initially, but you'll run out of stamina much sooner than they will, and they'll catch up to you while you're in your weakened state. This is partially because of their superior balance again, but mostly it's because of the human build's unique choice to not spec into fur. This gives them access to the extremely broken ability Sweat. Every other current build that's decent at distance running recharges stamina by using the move Pant. This works great, but it does require the user to stop running. Sweat, on the other hand, works better while moving, massively extending the distance a human player can run. They've got a few other important abilities that are essential to their kit, but aren't unique to humans. Their ability to speak is unique among mammals, but some birds can pull it off too. In humans, the ability to speak allows them to use—
Barely, well, you want to talk about the parrot? Barely, bro. Matter of fact, they only copy shit we say, bro. I don't even know how the fuck they do that shit though. Like I gotta watch a video on that. Like how do birds use their fucking like mouth like we? Like how do they say words that we can say and they got beaks? Like, I thought lips were a big part of like talking and shit.
Use one of their signature moves, Teach, which drastically boosts skill point gain, mitigating the main penalty a player receives upon getting a game over. Humans and birds also share another unique trait, which is being able to stand upright. Standing upright is extremely useful for dealing with stealth builds that might normally be using tall grass to hide. Tool use also might be thought of as a human-exclusive move.
Hold up, where was it?
Be using tall grass to hide.
There it is. I see his ass right there. Look at it. Bro thought he could hide from me. Nigga, you would have got shot if I was hunting. I was out there hunting. You would have got plot.
Tool use also might be thought of as a human-exclusive move, and it certainly is the most effective at humans. But it turns out a pretty wide array of other builds can also do it. Birds, primates, cephalopods, and even fish can use tools on occasion. But sweating and throwing, uniquely human. Now onto their weaknesses. And yes, it's true that currently most human players can subvert these with their crafting skill. But it's important to recognize that without equipment, the human build isn't necessarily unstoppable. The decision to not have fur granted humans a massive buff to mobility at the cost of stealth. In the mammal faction, fur is a prerequisite to all of the major stealth abilities like camouflage, and lack of stealth abilities means getting in close on their targets is a serious challenge. The human build's lack of fur also means they have very low defense, both from physical attacks and from environmental effects. Bare skin offers almost zero armor, to the point where even players from lower weight classes have no trouble dealing damage to humans. And bare skin also takes quite a bit of damage from the sun too. Humans are also pretty limited when it comes to the power stat. Physically, they're the weakest of the great apes, and don't really have any good options for dealing damage. They lack the classic high damage bite attack that nearly every other non-herbivorous build relies on, instead having to resort to blunt attacks like punch and kick, which we all know aren't very effective against builds that have thick fur or skin. The last major weakness I can see is that they're pretty bad at dealing with stealth. The lack of night vision means darkness can really hamper their ability to locate targets, and their lack of a strong sense of smell means camouflage is especially useful against them. Okay, now let's talk about matchups. Obviously, a key feature of the human build is being able to craft equipment. Given basic equipment like low-level armor and hunting gear, the human's best matchup is going to be medium-large mammals. Unlike blunt damage, piercing damage is quite effective versus builds with thick hide, but on defense they're actually pretty awful. A human's only option on defense against a large mammal is intimidation, unless they've got some crazy high-level equipment, but I'll make a video on power creep later. The classic human equipment cannot stop a charging tank main unless the intimidate attempt works. But overall, this matchup is one of the reasons humans became top tier. Hardly any builds have favorable matchups against tanks. But that's not to say humans don't have their counters though. As I said before, stealth can be really effective against them due to their lack of a keen sense of smell and night vision. Humans have the ability to win pretty much any fight as long as they've got time to prepare. But taken by surprise, humans have a lot fewer options. Another thing humans have trouble dealing with is flight. Even when a human has a ranged weapon, players with high aerial mobility are pretty safe during flight. Now, as far as I know, there aren't any bird builds powerful enough to one-shot humans, which is important because blunt attacks like punches are actually quite effective against birds. Birds have hollow bones that are resistant to tension and torsion, but not compression. This is the opposite of mammal bones, which are resistant to compression and tension, but not torsion. The point is, birds aren't the best choice against humans, but flight has been unlocked by 4 different classes in the game. Birds, which we just discussed, aren't a good choice. Bats, which do even less damage than birds. Reptiles, which unfortunately had their aerial builds banned in patch 1.3.1. And insects. Flying eusocial insects have by far the best matchup versus humans in the entire game. Humans have 0 counterplay against a swarm of stinging insects. I mean, sure, there are special items that they can use to combat swarms if they're prepared, but the amount of human mains who've chosen that as one of their prestige abilities is pretty small. Humans' lack of fur means they have no innate defense against stings. Stings also have the chance to proc the Amphylaxis debuff.
First time I got stung by a bee, bro. Disney World. I don't know what it was, a bee or horny. I don't know what the fuck it was, but that shit stung me, bro. And that shit hurted. And I made sure I found that motherfucker and I killed it. Cause maybe, yeah, you can't sting me, but your weak ass poison, whatever the fuck you have in your fucking stingy thing, it had no effect on me. All it did was give me a little bump, nigga. I stomped on that bitch. I smacked it. It fell on the ground. I stomped it. I wanted to spit on it, but there was people in the line, and I didn't want to look weird, and I didn't want to. You feel me? Maybe I was doing too much, but at the same time, I feel like I did the right thing. Because why would you sting me for no reason? For no reason. I wasn't messing with it or nothing. I was in line, a long ass line, trying to get on a ride, and you just came and stung me out of nowhere for no reason. All these other people in line, and you chose me. You chose me. My blood just had to be that tasty.
which can actually lead to a game over. And it's for this reason that the high score for human eliminations belongs to the Africanized honeybee, known better by its community-given name, the killer bee. And even if the stings don't proc the allergic reaction effect, they will still definitely achieve their primary goal of dropping their resolve to 0 and granting you control over the territory. And we can see that lately the viability of killer bees has only been growing now that they've expanded their territory outside of Africa. Which brings me to my main point. Are humans overpowered? Well, just like the Africanized honeybee, humans really only became OP once they escaped the African server and invaded other areas. Notice how humans took down megafauna across every terrestrial server except Africa. The African tank mains have the matchup experience and counterplay options to deal with the vast array of skills humans have access to. But the rest of the community was totally unprepared to deal with the rapid invasion of new human mains invading their competitive scene. In other words, the devs could have prevented the massive destabilization of the current meta if they'd region-locked humans. Staying competitive in the meta
So what you're saying is that the only reason humans are OP because we had the guerrilla warfare advantage. Like we had the upper hand because we were unpredictable. Because other animals in different continents never seen humans, so they never had a chance to prepare for our skill set or whatever advantage we had. Am I not giving enough credit to animals? Like, am I really belittling animals like by that much? Like, cause I never really thought of animals being that smart where they're able to like see, like they are smart enough to combat human advantages. And bro, I don't. At the same time, like I feel like I'm right for believing that. I don't believe it, bro, because deers that live in America, we've been in America for so long, bro, and deers will still run out in the middle of the road while a car's coming and stand there and get yeeted by the fucking, like, after being in fucking America for so long, bro, after, seeing cars and vehicles and all of this shit for all these years, wouldn't you think that animals would adapt by now and be able to read the signs, like the pictures, like hear the car sounds and know that, ooh, that's dangerous, I don't want to go in the middle of the road and get hit?
requires a good player constantly be leveling up their skills. There's no better example of this than the rapid rise to dominance that humans experienced. If you'd like to level up your own skills and unlock new ones, I have to high quality courses. I especially love the learning on for free for 2 months by using the link in the for the special offer and start. My Patreon and social media are in the description.
So that's that is our advantage. Just it's in our advantages. What gave us the upper hand in life, what gave us the one leg up, was other animals not knowing what we were capable of. That sounds like American ass shit, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. It sounds like some American ass shit. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. So I would say what makes humans so overpowered is because we're unpredictable, and it makes sense. It makes sense because that's how we even overpower each other. Like, just think about any fucking sport, bro. From sports to games and all of this, whatever it is, just think about it, bro. The winner always wins because of low expectations. Like most of the time, majority of the time, it's always the loser had less expectations of what the winner could do, and the winner overcomes the loser by doing the unpredictable. It's like it's how you get that one up in life. It's how you always get the one up. Haters, they praying your downfall. They don't expect you to make it to the top. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, being unpredictable, you hit the top. I'm not explaining it the way I want to explain it, but you get what I'm saying, bro. Like we went like check chess. The way you beat a nigga in chess is by being unpredictable. Like if you're playing chess with a person that plays chess like for a living, they're gonna know all your move. They know how you move. They know every piece. They know how. Like if you go in this space, they don't know how to combat that. They're like, oh, he's gonna do this, and he's gonna do that, and he's gonna do this, and then they're like, all right, let me combat this, combat that, combat that. But then if you have something up your sleeve where you know that only you know, or you know that he wouldn't expect you to do, like you just get into their brain, you know this person wouldn't expect it, and you do that move, they're not gonna expect it, and then they end up losing, and then you win. It's that simple. It's that simple, bro. I never thought about that, bro. That really just made me realize that human advantages, the human advantage, what makes humans so OP is our unpredictableness. That's how you get by in life. You gotta be unpredictable. If you're predictable, you're fucked.